Getting a getting a dumb phone is easier than you think. You don't have to spend $200 on eBay on a Japanese flip phone or whatever the going rate for those expensive minimalist tech bro phones are. For instance, got my dumb phone from Walmart for $20. Um, it does kind of suck, but that's the point of the dumb phone is that it kind of sucks. The cool thing about it is you can, customize it a little bit. So I got a cool background on mine, but there is seemingly a lot of people who are interested in ditching their smartphones, which I still own this. I didn't throw it in the garbage. I use it on Wi Fi. Um, and I think that is a lot of people's, they think about this in a very black and white way. They say, well, if I get the dumb phone, then I have to get rid of my smartphone. Or I have to, like I said, you have to completely get rid of your smartphone, which you don't have to do. You can have both. It seems silly. It seems redundant. But I promise you, it's not. If your goal is to just reduce your screen time, then this is a great way to do it because whenever I'm out in public, I regularly don't bring my smartphone with me. All I have is my dumb phone on me, and so there's no way to distract yourself when you're out and about. A lot of people use like waiting in lines or commuting as good examples of places where you would just idly scroll on your phone. So when you no longer have access to your smartphone while out in public, you don't have that anymore, which can be uncomfortable for people. That boredom that you experience when you're just waiting in a line, um, essentially staring off into space. I do that a lot. I get bored and I stare off into space. One thing, I just got a notification on my phone. That's what this is good for. It's for calls and texting. It's not really good for anything else. It does have GPS technically, and it does have YouTube. Um, you can use, I don't know if you can see this. You can use YouTube on this. It sucks. It sucks really badly. And I think that's one of the points of the dumb phone is that it makes it, you're adding friction to your experience. You're adding resistance. So you don't just pick up your phone and start scrolling on it. Um, yeah, I regularly kind of like forget my phone exists overnight. I'll just keep this like on my kitchen table, and I don't bring it to bed with me because I don't need it. I only have a couple of people who text me, and normally at night I'm on my laptop, so I have Discord, and so the people who communicate with me were communicating on Discord, so it doesn't really matter. Um, a Another thing to reduce your screen time that people are talking a lot about is getting a hobby. I will say that this works. Who would have thought? Because to do that hobby, you can't really like be idly scrolling your phone at the same time. So, for instance, I knit, and since I picked knitting back up, I've kind of forgotten that TikTok exists. I haven't been on TikTok in quite a while. I'll forget that like Twitter and Reddit exist. Um, I watch YouTube while I knit or Twitch to be like transparent. I don't like sit in silence and knit or do whatever other hobbies. I journal, I sew, those kinds of things. And normally I do have something in the background, which I don't think is the worst sin to have. Um, I was going to say something else. I will say that doing things without background noise can be really good for your concentration, for kind of getting that concentration back. So, a great example that I like to add is like doing chores. So, I'll take a day off that I have from work and I'll do chores, things like sweeping, mopping, doing the dishes, folding laundry, those kinds of things. And I'll do them in silence. If I'm home by myself, I'll just do these things just in silence and kind of just enjoying I'll open all my windows up, and just enjoy the sunlight and the noise, the natural noise I get from outside. Um, or I wake up in the morning, and if I don't have to work, I go outside onto my porch and I sit in the sun with my coffee cup and maybe a cigarette, and I just soak up the sun and I stare off into space, and I don't really do anything at all. So I don't want to make this video too long. I guess what I wanted to say is that it's not black and white. You can have both of these things in your life. And I promise that having the dumb phone to where when you go out places that don't have Wi-Fi and you can't use your smartphone, is going to help you a lot. Another thing that makes this easier and more comfortable for people is that if you have a physical SIM card like I do, you can just swap them in and out of your phone. So right now, I have my SIM card in my dumb phone, but if there's some kind of, I don't know, let's say an emergency to where I do need my GPS, which has happened one time, I can take my SIM card out of this, pop it into my iPhone, and then I have my smartphone again. No problem. I have cell phone data, if I'm in a place where I don't have Wi-Fi. So that's kind of what I have to say about swapping from a smartphone to a dumb phone, is that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can do both, and that will help you get more comfortable with the idea of having a dumb phone. It's not as intimidating when you realize that it's not all or nothing. And you don't have to just get rid of your smartphone and throw it in the ocean somewhere, and never use it again. Especially because the cameras, on these things are terrible. They're really, really awful. So, sometimes I'll carry my smartphone around just to take photos with. You can also get analog cameras, and that's something that, I'll link it down below. But August Lamb talks a lot about, who, she's really inspiring to me. She wrote a zine called, it's like a guide to getting rid of your smartphone. It's called You Don't Need a Smartphone. You can find her on Substack, and she has some stuff. She's hardcore. She doesn't have a computer. So I don't aspire to that. I like having a computer, but the smartphone, not always having access to that in your pocket all the time, having the mini computer on you, I think is good practice if it's something that you've been interested in. And also low cost. Like I said, I got this for $20. So if you get this, and you can get a separate plan, or yeah, if you have a physical smartphone, or a physical SIM card, you can just swap them in and out. But if you decide you don't like it, you only spent $20, and you can throw this in a drawer somewhere and move on and go back to your smartphone like nothing ever happened. So it doesn't have to be this huge investment that you have to make. Like I was saying, with the light phone, which is like $400 or something, you don't have to spend that kind of money. $20. The only thing is that these don't last very long. Mine is starting to have some issues, and I might have to get a new one. I've had this for almost a year. And I know other people with dumb phones who they have to get a new dumb phone every once in a while because they just don't make these to last, which is unfortunate. I would like a dumb phone that has a little more longevity to it, so that I'm not just using batteries and plastic and all that good stuff. But anyways, that's what I wanted to say. I'll link August's stuff down below if you are interested in recovering your attention span or just kind of reducing your screen time. Having both a smartphone and a flip phone is a really good option for that. Bye.